if you are watching us from Facebook or TikTok and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go do it now. It's Conversations Overheard on YouTube. You can go back this way, Jay. I'm gonna move out of the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't sit down yet. The YouTube.
Welcome back, welcome back,
Welcome back. I'm the singer in the group. Just so y'all know. I'm the singer, I'm the skater,
The
I'm
dancer.
the dancer. Okay, so this is Janae, everybody. If you haven't seen her, if you're new to the TikTok page, so hey, don't worry about that.
And so, so we're live from TikTok, Kim's page, my page, and we are live from IG, Facebook, and our official channel, Conversations Overheard, YouTube. Okay, guys. Happy Tuesday. Lord
Happy
have mercy.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I know, right? All right, so we are talking about why people stay in declining relationships.
My goodness. I think we're all guilty of that at
Yeah.
some point in time in our lives.
I was gonna say that.
I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I hope I've learned from, past mistakes, but I think like the fundamental reason would probably be you're just trying to get back to what you had at one point in time. You're holding on to this beauty that, originated with the commencement of that relationship, and you're just always trying to get back there.
So the hope is the factor is why some people stay.
Or that feeling, it kind of like people who try drugs for the first time. I don't know this because I've never tried them like that, but people always say that first time, that first high,
yeah.
They're always trying to get that high back.
always
Recreate that.
chasing.
Yeah.
Recreate that high. There you go. Yeah. That's the fundamental, I would think, reason.
One reason.
Yeah.
Another one is that, you get comfortable. Even if something is bad, you can grow accustomed to it.
Yeah.
And,
That's true.
And you don't want to trade the devil that you don't know for the devil that you do. Mm-hmm. And even though, everybody would sit here and tell you, well, if I'm not happy, I'm going to move on. But it's not always that simple. Sometimes you get comfortable in being miserable, if that's, the case. And you don't want to trade what you know and what you go through because, for whatever reason, I can't even speak to all of the reasons, but that is it a lot of the times, that people just are comfortable in their space and they're not trying to get outside of that.
Yeah, because when you start to create habits with people, and I was really talking about this with with one of my really good acquaintances, I was saying when you create habits with people, you've been with them for a while, and like you said, you're comfortable, then that feels normal. That's your normal. So you kind of like wallow in that mud and it feels, like it's supposed to be there. And so, you don't know what the good feels like because you've had the bad for so long. And people just stay. Comfort.
I think another thing could be like, let's say you were in a downward spiral, just a personal downward spiral, and that person showed you so much grace or, was really there to pull you out the mud, that sunken place, and you feel indebted to them to a certain degree, or you feel like you need to show them that grace back, even though it may be very much so a relationship that doesn't have any legs anymore. You know what I mean? It's pretty stunted. But you feel like you owe them that, I don't know. I feel like, a sense of loyalty sometimes plays a big part in why you wouldn't leave someone or why you would stay in it longer than what you would normally do.
Yeah, I had a person that told me that he would never leave his spouse because not that he couldn't envision himself without her, but he said that she was such a good person and she'd never done anything to him, and he was like, I can't imagine hurting her. So yeah, it's he felt indebted, like she's been so gracious and she's been so nice and put up with my bullshit.
He can't be the one
Yeah,
to
he was like,
walk out
why
on
would
us.
I do that to
Yeah.
her? She doesn't deserve that. Yeah.
Right. Right. And some people really are friends, even though that they're, I mean,
Sure.
they should be friends, but I mean,
Sure.
some people are like, I can't do that to my friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But you got to love yourself a little bit more than that. I mean, once you get past 50 or 60 or whatever that age is, you know that there's more time behind you than it is in front of you. And you owe it both to yourself and to that person to try to be happy and to have happiness. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it's no easy way to tell a person that they have bad breath, but sometimes unpleasant things have to be said. And you owe it to yourself and to that person because you might be obstructing them from finding their happiness.
I mean, I'm sure that's a great spin, and I'm sure that makes people sleep a little easier at night. But I don't know if you telling them that I'm obstructing your happiness when they really want to be with you is gonna fly. I'm just saying,
You can't. I don't know that you can phrase it like that, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you're not happy, you're not giving your all. You're not doing everything that you could do. You're just holding on. You have to say those unpleasant things.
No, you are just holding on. We're
Yeah.
not talking about
No.
you're just holding on. But that other person is like, I'm good.
Right,
As long as we're together, I'm good.
Right, I'm comfortable.
You know?
But I think that's a very selfish act. I don't think that that's something that you have to tell people stuff. I mean, you don't have to blurt it out at Christmas dinner, but
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to blurt it out at Christmas dinner, but you can't impose or project your feelings about the relationship, right? Because a relationship takes more than just you, and say that because I feel this way and my happiness is being compromised, that your happiness is automatically being compromised because that is for them to decide and not for you to decide. And so you have every prerogative and option to walk out of a door, to leave, whatever, but it's still two people in that relationship and they have to come to whatever terms they need to come to feel like it's over. You can't make somebody get over something because you want them to get over it or you want to
No,
be
you
able to
can't.
leave. Yeah. So you
but you could spend an extra 2 years being nice because you don't want to hurt that person. You don't want to, again, you may be obstructing that person from finding the person that will be happy
let's
with
call
them.
a spade though, because you fell out of love. You're trying to like
Okay.
make it so like
Okay.
like
with
I'm
that.
doing you a favor by leaving
so yeah,
you.
so
Right.
so if you stay and you're just you're kind of like
I'm going through the
breadcrumbing
motion.
because, yeah, breadcrumbing and being nice here and there because you've out of guilt, really. So then, what does that get to?
I mean, staying in a relationship, I think that that's unhealthy. I don't think that that's productive. I think that if you're not happy, you have to say that. And I think that I don't think it's fair to lead a person on. I don't think that I can phrase it like that, like, I'm doing this for your own good. That's
Right.
that's not gonna work. But I have to be a man and have a tough conversation and say that, hey, this is what it is. And I'm not happy. Let me, barometer. Where are you? How are you feeling?
So I will say this: the topic of our show tonight is why would you stay in a declining relationship?
Right.
I will say this: this is just personal. Like if I was in a declining relationship and that partner of mine had been stricken with an illness, I would stay.
Yeah, I mean,
I would, and it's not. I would
Oh.
stay, and it wouldn't be because of guilt, or it would be because I would not want anybody to feel abandoned. And now, just because you are in a declining relationship does not mean you don't love that person.
True.
It doesn't mean that you don't love that person's family. It doesn't mean that you don't want the best for that person. And if the best for that person is not being alone and navigating a journey that's, hard and painful, then you be there, because that's what friends and people that love each other do.
So now we're getting into like specific situations.
Well, that's why I said that. What I said. Why would you stay in a relationship that's declining, right?
Okay.
And that is one
That
of
was
the
one
reasons
why you
that-
would stay.
And I said it was personal.
Right.
Yes. Why
Right.
I would. Yes.
Okay.
I would agree with you. In that situation, I'm not bailing on somebody when there's, quote unquote trouble. I would love to think that I'm a more loyal person than that. And even if I, in my short term happiness, because I don't think that I was ever always unhappy, in my short term happiness, I can forego that to get us through something or to get us to a point. I'm willing to do that. I'm not, like, oh man, that's it. Sorry. Hope it works out for you.
I think people also stay for financial reasons, for children, or that's just what they know. You tend to.
I think that's
I
true.
subscribe to the more is caught than taught theory. So, like, I watched my parents stay together for me.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed for my children. Not to say that I didn't love my husband, but I knew that the relationship was declining. But I stayed because I felt like I needed to keep the family unit together, or what I considered their family unit, because that's what they knew. Mama, daddy,
So
in
what
the
was
same
that
house.
phrase again, so I can know it again?
More is caught than taught.
I think that's still over my head. I understand what you mean when you explain it, but I would never get it. Like,
Yeah. So that is, I'm a big believer in that. So people will criticize and say, oh, that relationship, why are they still in that relationship, whether it's a marriage or long term. But, people have to figure things out for themselves.
absolutely.
They do. And some people are not in a position financially to leave. Some people have just low self-esteem. They just think, okay, well, I'm probably not going to get any better than this. And some people are, there are some people who are just, like, they could leave, but they just figure, this last name means so much to me because it gives me power, that they stay in that relationship because of that.
And some people take vows seriously. When I got married, you know what I mean? I got married for
In front of God.
in front of God, in front of all these people, and I'm not breaking those vows.
That too.
So right, wrong, or indifferent, here we are.
And I mean, I think that, there are, and this is going to come off as just being really, really wild, but I think that there are people that enjoy misery. That
They're
they
accustomed to
Yeah.
it.
yeah, and that
Drama.
they operate better. I mean, you could put them in a perfectly good situation, and within 30 short days, they could just have that whole thing upside down.
Or trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You're right. You're
yeah.
right.
So-
It doesn't sound wild because there are some people who thrive in drama.
yeah,
So you think that they stay because
that's what they know.
That feels normal to them. Okay.
They're either repeating a pattern of behavior that they were brought up in, or they are seeking out a comfort space that they feel they operate better in.
Yeah. Hurt people hurt people. So if they could have been completely normal going into a relationship, but they stayed in a relationship so long that those bad habits and behaviors they've adopted. And
Or-
that is how they have learned to express their love.
Yeah,
And dysfunction.
I'm gonna get my lick back.
Maybe, yeah, I guess that could be part of it too.
And how
Revenge.
about there are some people, more often than not, this is how women think. There are some people who feel like, well, some relationship is better than no relationship. Like you used to always say, a piece of a man is better than nothing. So I'm not with that either.
Well, I will say that, but I wasn't talking about for me because that sure didn't sound like it was.
I wasn't gonna say
Right.
anything. I'm
That
just
was
sitting
just
there
the
like,
way.
I'm just
Let me
sitting
clear
there
that
like,
up.
No, let me clarify. That is in a
That's just
prior
side talk,
in a
right?
in a prior conversation, our
Right.
conversations overheard, you mentioned that
I
that's
know.
how somebody felt, and so that's not your life,
Right.
But yeah, many women do
Gary's
feel
like,
like that. So they just feel like even though the person that they're with
Absolutely.
is
That
just not treating them well, it's
Yeah,
just.
but they don't want to spend
Yeah.
Christmas alone. They don't
Yeah.
want to spend Valentine's
want-
Day
they-
I
alone.
want to know who my New Year's
And they-
Eve date is
and they
gonna
want
be.
the matching pajamas.
Yeah, They want the Christmas card, right?
Yes.
Literally laid up with two side pieces that week, but you want the matching pajamas on Facebook.
Right.
Yes,
Which is
and you
insane.
want to get the inaugural first to Facebook because you want to post it like at 12:01 Christmas morning.
You know, some people feel like whether it's a long-term relationship and certainly a marriage, that it ending is a failure. It represents I failed
Yeah.
at this.
Yeah.
And it's not private, it's public. You got married and everybody knew it. So you get divorced and everybody knows it. So everybody in their mind is perceiving them to be a failure.
Right.
You did something wrong, you know. And maybe their family, maybe the pressure from your family.
That's a huge
You know,
one
you
because
stay in it for that.
I know two sisters, and
Yeah,
that one had the one had the quote unquote perfect life, and the other one just kind of made it work for her. And so the one with the perfect life, on paper it looked great. It was wonderful and 4-H and blah blah blah, Girl Scouts, da 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 da. But she was miserable,
And
and she stayed because the younger sister who she was competing with was actually happy. So she kept up this facade, not because she wanted to stay married, but because she didn't want to quote unquote lose to her sister. And it was horrible because people got to know her and they knew they commented on the things that they saw, like, oh man, this is so wonderful and you're doing this and you're
Yeah.
doing that, and it was just reaffirmation of her misery. It was like she had to live it out with most people that she encountered, and it was horrible.
I'm gonna be honest, like married people probably look at single people and like, I don't want that life. Shit, never mind. I'd stay in this old declining relationship. Y'all ain't having a good time. You know what I mean? So yeah.
But I think that
that part.
There's always a part where and when you get old enough, when you get past 50, you hopefully realize that if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, the water bill is higher.
Yeah.
So
It's a trade off somewhere.
yeah, you give
You
up.
gotta water that grass, or it will
Dry up.
it will die.
But you sit there and because you don't see a person water and that you don't see the work.
That's right.
You think like, oh my God, it's just so beautiful, it's so
Right.
green,
These
it's so
flowers.
lush and loud. But the water bill is higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Well taken. I think there's a lot of different reasons why.
Yeah, clearly there are a lot of reasons why people choose to stay in relationships that are tanking.
I thought about this actually, just briefly. The Kardashians, right? So Khloe stayed under the declining relationship because her husband at the time, and she was a trooper. My goodness, she stuck by him while he was fighting for his life.
Lamar, yeah.
Yeah, she did.
I was like, who? Okay,
And
yeah.
you forgot about that marriage.
Yeah,
But
they married?
it was
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
it was touch and go for him, but she did her wifely duty. You know what I mean? She did. She made all the decisions and kept him on life support, and he is here to this day, right?
Yeah.
Living his best life. And when I look at what's the other girl, Kim Kardashian? Listen, I feel like she stuck in that relationship with Kanye
Kanye.
for as long as
Yeah.
she could and protected him. And people may not agree,
You
but
know why?
I don't know why, but I
Because
know
her name is Kim.
that's why, right? I'm like, I don't know why, but there we go.
Had
That
to be
explains
that.
it all,
Had to be
right?
that.
We are loyal.
She protected him as much as she could until it just got to the point that she just couldn't. But she certainly tried. It was a lot of years put into that.
Yep.
So you do stay in things because you feel an obligation to people, and you feel like you can help them, and sometimes you really want to help them, because if you help them, that helps you all. You know what I mean, or whatever family dynamic you have, or just as a couple. But sometimes it's not enough. But that doesn't mean you don't stick in there and try.
I think that a lot of people think that it's just easy to leave. like you can just turn off a switch or
Yeah.
use an app over. And I think it's a lot more difficult than that, especially when
It
you're
is.
truly invested in it. If it's marriage, then there's so many different dynamics that can come into play. And it's difficult to just, to say, okay, I've been doing this for this long, I'm going to go and do this now. That's tough.
It is, especially when you have children, because it's not just about you. You have to untangle yourself from this relationship and think about the mental health of people who are depending on you for everything,
Yeah.
from food to like how they view themselves. So that's very difficult.
And you know your children. You know what I mean? You know what they can handle. And maybe at that juncture at their life, they can't handle a divorce. They need both parents. For what, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know your child.
That's right. That's right.
And so timing is everything in life, period. But it certainly is important when there are other people that are going to be impacted and affected by your decisions, which for the most part are going to be selfish because it's about your happiness. But you have to look at other people's happiness if they're depending on you.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, alrighty. What do you guys think?
We'd love to know.
We would love to know.
We'd love to know.
Any declining relationships out there in the past, presently, how you handled them? Did you stay? Did it work? Are you still together?
I was about to say,
I'm all in your business,
Why,
right?
why are you still there? Why? What are the reasons or reason? So listen, April 12th is our next in-person event.
Details will follow very soon. We don't have
Very
all the
soon.
details to give you tonight, but details will follow soon. But please mark it on your calendars. What time is that from? About what? 4?
We're gonna let you know for sure.
How much trouble would I get in if I
A lot.
it? You didn't even let me.
I know.
You are rude.
He can't tell you anything.
I can tell you. If they wasn't here, I'd tell you.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Right. He'd still be in trouble. Anyhow,
So-
guys, listen, please like, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel, Conversations Overheard YouTube. And what else do we need to let you know before she breaks out in her?
Mama say, mama saw, mama.
She can't dance. I can't share stuff. Oh man, I'm not happy. I'm miserable.
I can't. I don't know. What else?
I think that's it.
Was that it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Please comment. We'll be looking for them and keep the conversation going. Appreciate you guys. I can't read all these comments, but I hope we can
All right.
save them
Yes. All right. We'll see you guys soon.
real soon.
Soon and very